YouTube, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be basically showing y'all how to make your own template. And if you don't know what a template is, for the beginners out there, or you might be advanced, you might not know what a template is. A template is something that's gonna help you make beats faster, and you won't have to do too much in all that adjusting and stuff. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video, man. The first thing I want to start off by doing is we're just gonna make clone sampler. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Now once you clone your sampler, it's gonna look like this. With a template, you want something that it sounds good off the rip, but at the same time, you have room to work and add your own taste and stuff to it and things of that nature. So let's start off with the melody. So all I'm gonna do is rename this to melody, or you could do like main mel. I'm gonna do main mel 1. And then we could do layer 1. Then we could do rename layer 2. We can have lead 1, and then rename accent, because you don't want to do too much. And you can change it to whatever you want, but me personally, this is what I have on my beats usually. So this is what you're gonna be having on your beats. So if that helps you, if that makes more sense, whatever makes sense to you, add that to yours. So I have my melody 1, which is, for example, that's just gonna be some chords, piano, whatever that may be for my main melody. Then I'm gonna have the layer 1. The layer 1 is just gonna be like if I want to put a pad behind my piano or whatever. You get what I'm saying, some texture. And then a layer 2 might be a little extra oomph that is missing. Then we have lead 1 right here. Lead 1 is self-explanatory. It's really just a lead, the top sound that cut through. You could even do top line instead of lead, or however you want to do it. And then I have my accent. My accent is basically just gonna be like little dribble drops. Like imagine it's raining. These are little raindrops on a window. The main melody is the window pane, and the accents, the drippy drops. You feel me? So boom. Now when I'm making my templates, I go through and find a couple of drums, or my favorite drums that I use every single time and hit every single time. So I'll get like 3 to 2 of every type of drum. So let's say I like this hi-hat, and I like this hi-hat, and I like this hi-hat, right? So we gonna pick out them hi-hats. I'm gonna add an open hat, and I only use one open hat. And this is also gonna help you find your own sound and have your sound identity, because of the fact that this is gonna allow you to use certain sounds, the same sounds, and they may even be sounds you the only person that got them, but these sounds are gonna be the sounds that you use so often because it's a template. So it's really gonna help you create a sound identity. All right, so I got my claps, I got my hi-hats, I got my snare. I like that snare. And there's another snare I like in my tricog drum kit. It's gonna be right here. Ooh, I like both of them. I'll add that instead. All right. Let's add a few more things. Just a kick, and then let's add like 2 or 3 808s. And your template can be, like I said, it can have whatever you use consistently, whatever you think is what will work for you. Everyone's different. So boom. Something else I like to do is this is a little secret hidden feature. All you gotta do is go over here, go to gradient, click on first, choose a color, click on last, choose a color, and boom, you get this cool effect. So all I'm gonna do over here is I'm gonna double click on the first square, open up the mixer track, select insert one, click this arrow down, click channel routing, and then click on route selected channels starting from this track. Boom. So when you do that, it's gonna, when you double click all these squares, it's gonna insert all the things you selected into your mixer track automatically. If y'all missed that, or that was too fast, or that was confusing, feel free to pause the video, slow it down, go back, whatever you need to do. So boom, I'm gonna show y'all a little sauce with the mixing side. So I'm gonna add 3 more mixer tracks over here. All you gotta do is press this plus button. So I'm gonna name this rename, let's name this melody. I'm gonna name this drums, and I'm gonna name this one 808. Or if you want to really be like really specific, you can name this melody bus, drum bus, because that's what essentially these are. And a drum bus, a melody bus, and an 808 bus is basically, it's gonna put all of the sounds into one box where you can edit it all and make it sound completely different, much cleaner. And then for the final one, I'm gonna put pre-master bus, and that's just where I'm gonna connect them all. So it's basically like separating them, cutting out the frequencies that I don't want in it, and then putting it back together in the pre-bus, and then a master, the pre-master bus, and then I'm gonna connect it back to the master. So first, what you want to do, you see this right here, it's gonna be an orange little arrow, and it's gonna be connected to the master. All you're gonna do is click on this, go to every single one of your melodies, click on, and when I say melody, I mean anything that's like a quote-unquote melody instrument type of thing, and you could just go and click down here on the melody bus, just connect the dots. And I'm gonna change the colors for these just so it's more I'm just gonna do random color just so it's more viewable, I guess. And boom, so we got all our melodies aspects connected to the melody bus. Now all you want to do is go here, add a parametric EQ2, and cut out everything below. I say it's really up to you, but if you want to play it safe, you can always adjust this. 150 hertz. It's always a good bass template. And then I'll just add another EQ, Fruity Parametric EQ2. And on this one, you're gonna actually mess around with the sound. So for example, let me go in here and add FL keys just to show y'all what I mean. So I'm about to just make a little pattern real quick. It's on thirds. let's just drag that over here. And then I'm just gonna take this down. So let's say that's my melody. So the first one, as you can see, it cuts out all the bass. And your second one, this is where you're gonna make the frequencies that you like stand out. And this is how you're gonna know if what you like using this one. So you're gonna grab one of these bands and you're gonna drag it up. And you hear that little ring. Basically, you're gonna find a section of the melody that sounds the best to you. So like, if I do that, it sounds like really, I don't know how to explain it, like muffled, I guess. But I'm just gonna find the parts that sound the cleanest to me, and I'm gonna drag them up. So if I take this off, this is what it sounds like. It sounds more boxy, but when I add it on, it sounds more clean. So basically, that's how you're gonna use the second parametric EQ too. Now from there, it's really up to you, whatever you want on your melody plugins. But the bass starters, I would just add 2 EQs to be safe. And yeah, so I'm gonna take this stuff off and alright, bet. So I'm just gonna go through and do that. And for real, you only really, you can do that, but you could also add, for this section on each of the melodies, only add 1 parametric EQ too. So I'm just gonna drag this to the top, and then I'm just gonna lift all these up by a little bit in our highs, just lift it up a little bit. So I'm just gonna go through here, parametric EQ2, lift it up, parametric EQ2, lift it up, and I'm gonna explain to you why I took it off in a second. But let's just go through parametric EQ2, parametric EQ2, and that's all you're gonna do, and that's for you to adjust. But that's why we got this melody bus over here. So on a melody bus, we're actually gonna add that cutting the bass off. So you're just gonna drag it to 150 hertz, drag it, boom, feel me? And just like that, it cuts off all the bass. And then I'll add a second parametric EQ2. Okay, so that's for the melodies or melodic instrument type. So for the drums, you're gonna drag it to the drum bus. And honestly, for the melody, you can, before we go into the drum, you can add a little fast disc or a little wave shaper or some little type of saturation to add a little flavor to it, if that makes sense. So you could go in there and add a little fruity blood overdrive, turn it down just so it's not too much. And then you can add like any like saturation, that's the word I'm looking for, any saturation that feels right to you. Then I'm just gonna go in there and add a little stereo. This is completely optional, like I said before, and it's gonna change whenever you put stuff, so don't go too crazy because you might not even like it on your new beat, like, since it's gonna be a template. So now all you're gonna do is the same thing, drag all these drums over here, and you're gonna drag them all except the 808, everything except the 808. So all I'm doing is dragging, boom, kick. Honestly, you could put the kick. I'm gonna do something different with the kick. So just hold off on the kick for now. But make sure everything is disconnected from the master and it's only connected to the drum bus. Okay. So once you've done that, all you're gonna do, you're just gonna do the same thing. Because really, for me personally, I don't really add a bunch of stuff to my drums. You can if you want to, but for this, I'll just say take up the highs down here in the equalizer. Just take it up a little bit, all of them. Add a little highs to them. Cause I personally don't put much on none of my drums because of the drum kits that I use. I use my own drum kits and they're pre-mixed. But let's say they're not pre-mixed, you would, for the snares, you just boost the mid. So if you had the parametric EQ2, you would take off all the lows to 150 and just boost like around 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 ish, whatever sounds right on the snare. But for the drum bus itself, I'll go in there and add parametric EQ2, take off all them lows like before, take it to 150, take off all them lows, and this just leave enough room for your 808 and your bass. So then I'll add a parametric EQ. Just take up the highs a little bit, take up the mid just a little bit, just a tad bit. Once you do that, you can go in there and add a compressor. There's some good presets that you can add. You can add any of these will be good. Complete mix, drums, full reset, vintage mix, any one of them. Boom. So we got that. So we got our drums done. Now for the part with the kick and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna connect the kick to the I'm gonna side chain it. So I'm side chaining it to the 808 and I'm gonna connect it to the drums. Basically when the kick is side chained to the 808, it's gonna knock that. When the 808 hits, it's gonna let the kick hit too, if that makes sense, because sometimes it knock each other out of place if they're not balanced. But the kick is side chained to the 808, so in this case it's more so gonna let the kick through over the 808 in a sense. So what you're gonna do is side chain the kick to the 808, then you're gonna connect it to the drum bus. After that, you're gonna connect the 808, connect it to the 808, connect the 808 to the 808, if that makes sense. Connect the 808 to the 808. Yeah, connect the 808 to the 808. And then make sure on the drum bus you add a little saturation too. You can add fast diffs. Any of these are good. Me personally, I like Wave Shaper. And all you're gonna do is go over here, right here, presets, soft clip, and then boom, you could turn it down. But you're always gonna adjust when you actually make the beat. That's why I don't go heavy on the preset, because it might mess up the beat in a way. So just be wary of that. Be really wary of that. And then on the 808, I just add a little saturation. And yeah, so now we're at the pre-master bus. So the pre-master bus is just gonna make sure that everything's cleaned up. And all you're gonna do is go over here, boost the bass or the sub, boost the mid, and boost the highs. And then I go to the equalizer, boost the highs a little bit. And if this has too much highs boosted, since we boosted along the way, then you feel free to turn it down. Then all I'm gonna do is add a little more saturation. More than likely I'm gonna add a fast disc, and I'm just gonna, when I actually make a beat, I'm gonna adjust the fast disc to make it so that the beat's not peaking. So you're gonna turn the threshold all the way down and just leave it like this. Boom. So this is your main mixer tracks. So on a master, all you're gonna do is go to presets, do the 40 plus 18k hertz cut. Then what you're gonna do is you can add a soft clipper and you can add a compressor. You can really do whatever you want, but I'm gonna stop at the EQ because I really want to let y'all experiment and have your own sound. It's really gonna help you out. Now, something you want to keep in mind is you want to keep all your melodies around, starting off at like 12 dB. You don't want your melody super loud, because it really gives it more space and allows they call it headroom. So basically, when you turn all your instruments down, it's gonna give it more space to hit, if that makes sense. So I just go through and mess with the panning a little bit. You're gonna mess with the panning, turn the volume down, mess with the panning. The panning is gonna be basically left or right. Same thing with the hi-hats and stuff like that. You're gonna turn your hi-hats down actually to like, let's say 9 dB. Yeah, let's say 9 dB. And you're only gonna use one of these, just to be clear. Or you could use how many ever you want. It's really up to you. It's your template, once again. But me personally, I'll choose one of these I want. Or let's say I want this hi-hat, this snare. Let's say, well, that's not a hi-hat. But let's say I want this hi-hat and this snare. Okay. Then I'm just gonna leave the snares at like 6. And volumes is really important if you want a clean mix. It's gonna be EQ and volume. That's your most important factors. So you want your 808 to probably hit at like 6 too, yeah, probably like 6. Or you just want to make sure your 808's not peaking for real. You want a clean hitting 808, contrary to what people say. When you have a cleaner hitting 808, it's easier to actually go in with the distortion afterwards. Let's say if you want that underground sound. So if it's hitting cleaner, because if you didn't realize, this is a separate volume from this. This is a whole different volume from these knobs right here. So when you have it hitting clean inside of here, when you put it in the mixer tracks, it's gonna be easier to manipulate and hit hard while not distorting, if that makes sense. So boom. That's the arrangement, that's the master. And if you want to take this a step further, what you can do is you can have you a little automation going on here. So you could have, like, let's say you want a phaser effect on every start of your beat. We're gonna do create automation clip, boom. So let's say you have an automation right here, and then you have another volume automation, and it starts the track off at, let's have your volume fade in, and then you have it fade out, for example, at the end of the track. Boom. You feel me? Or however long your music gonna be. So I'm gonna pull open this and then just add my tag. And if y'all want the link to these drum kits, just leave a comment down below and I'll give y'all the little sauce, man. So if we go in here, this is what it sound like. But yeah, well, that's the whole preset, you feel me? If y'all enjoyed this video, leave a like, thumbs up. Let me know what y'all want to see next, man. It's been your boy Mark, and I'm out.